Hello everyone, welcome back to my studio. Today we're gonna work on a split colored shirt, but not for any reason because the shirt is gonna go underneath this beautiful dress right here. It's almost finished and you're gonna see how I've made this in a different video, which I'm gonna release very soon. If I have so already, I'm gonna link it down in the description box and also put it into the iCard. Together, it's gonna be a beautiful look, hopefully. I haven't seen it yet, and this is very experimental right here, so we're gonna see. But I have some high hopes for this, and I think it's gonna look really great. So, same as always, if you want to follow this tutorial, I put a digitalized pattern onto my website, so if you want to sew this shirt as well, I put the link into the description so you can download the pattern and follow along and sew a shirt as well. This sewing tutorial is very easy and it is definitely beginner friendly, and I would say it's on a level 1 of 5. However, we're gonna work with jersey fabric today, and that means an overlock could help quite a lot. If you don't have an overlock machine, that's no problem at all. Some people use their zigzag stitches on their domestic machine, or if you just have a straight traditional stitch, that's fine as well. Many people use that. You just have to stretch the fabric for a bit and then make the seams you have to do. Good, I'm ready. I've got my pattern pieces right here. And now, do you want to see the cutest fabric that I've ever bought in my life? Are you ready? Look at it! Of course, the red, boring, but this right here. I never thought that I would pick a bunny fabric for this specific project, but it was a leftover piece and I was looking for a pink jersey fabric. I don't have to explain myself, it's fine, and we're actually gonna do some fabric manipulation onto this, so it's not gonna stay as cute as it is now, but we're definitely gonna make it my own and give it my final touch, so I'm willing to wear a bit of cuteness right here. I've put everything to the side now, so we have enough space to cut out the pieces. I've got the pattern piece ready, as said before. So we've got a front piece, a back piece, then a sleeve and a collar. Remember, nothing is cut on fold because it's a split colored shirt, therefore we don't really have a piece that goes across the whole body. Everything is split exactly in the middle except the sleeves, so you can cut one of each in either of the colors. Of course, it's also up to you what colors you pick. I'm gonna match it the dress that I've already finished, but you know, if you want to do a black-white one or any other color you could think of, this is up to you. This is your shirt, so have fun with that. Of course, as always, there's a specific direction you have to place your pattern pieces onto the fabric. If you look closer at your jersey fabric, you will soon realize that there are these lines on your fabric. That's basically the direction your fabric was knitted. And the lines of the jersey fabric needs to be parallel to your grain line on the pattern pieces. I've marked the grain line on all pattern pieces so you know exactly where that is. I've cut out all the pieces, so we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces in total. And we're gonna do 2 of the seams before we can print anything onto the front and back and the sleeves and everything in one go. It's time to thread your machines. So either you're working on a normal sewing machine, a domestic one, an industrial one, or if you have an overlock sewing machine like me, that's ideal. That's exactly what you should use if you work with jersey fabric. If you've never worked with a jersey fabric or a stretchy fabric in general, I highly recommend to take a small cut-off piece and try a couple of stitches so you know what it's like to work with your specific fabric. This is exactly the reason why you should test your machines before you start sewing your real pieces. Sometimes the tension is just not the right one for the fabric you're working on, or just in general it might not be threaded in the correct way, and then you get this really weird loopholes, and that's what we don't need. So always test your machines before you start your actual garment, because otherwise you need to redo stitches or the fabric will be ruined because it gets sucked into the machine. So the first seams we need to do is we need to close the center front and the center back of the main pieces, and also the center front of the turtleneck collar. Don't forget, things that get sewn with an overlock machine have a different seam allowance than the ones you would sew with your regular sewing machine or just other fabrics. So the seam allowance for this shirt is 0.7 millimeters. This is the exact width of the stitch that the overlock does, and this is really common to use within the industry. So not 1 centimeter, it's 0.7. It's the next day and I'm ready to print. I've got my I'm the third brother jumpsuit on, and I already put everything upstairs into the garden. Summer is starting to end for sure, but as long as it's warm enough for me to print outside, I'm gonna do so. I've printed in the studio last year and it was a total mess. Like, there was paint everywhere and it was not normal cotton paint you would use for screen printing. No, it was for latex. And let me tell you, I'm not gonna touch that paint of the devil ever again, at least not so soon. But today I'm gonna use the normal cotton screen printing paint, and that's so much easier because it's on a water base, and it means you can wash it out with just water, and that's so much easier. So I'm gonna print from the lightest shade to the darkest one. So it's gonna be light pink, red, and then a bit of black. So as you can see, I've prepared the front and the back. I just sewn together the center front and the center back, also from the collar, just one side, and now I can lay it on flat and print over it. So let's go up the hill into the garden and start the print process. That was quite a ride. I haven't printed in so long, and it's only been the second project where I've used screen printing. The verdict is I'm not perfectly good at it, so that's not something you should learn from me. There are other people out there who are much more experienced at it and do a much cleaner job. But you know, it all comes down to experience and how often you've done it. I can get better at this, but at the same time it's so messy. There's paint everywhere, and if I can avoid it, I will. However, it's done. I've printed on all the pieces, and I've also been thinking about bedazzling it. So what we're going to do now for the shirt and how are we going to put it together. Many people make a huge mistake by closing the shoulder seams and then the side seams and then setting the sleeves in. That's actually wrong when it comes to, well, in general, shirts, there are better ways, except if it's a 2-seam sleeve, then you cannot set it in this way I'm going to show you. But otherwise, if you've got a jersey piece, a jersey shirt, or a normal blouse, or a tailored shirt with a normal 1-seam sleeve, that's the right way on how to set it in. Of course, I'm gonna continue using my overlock sewing machine here, but same as with the first seams we did, you can use whatever machine you have. There are just different ways on how to use it. So I'm gonna put the other pieces we don't need to the side. We're only gonna work with the front piece and the back piece, and we're gonna close the shoulder seams first. So the printed side, the nice side, should be on the inside, and you put the right side on the right side, and the wrong sides are outside. Really take your time with this. It often happens with jersey that it kind of like rolls up on the edges. So you only do the seam when it's laying really flat, and you know that you don't sew any rolled hems in there. Oh my god, this project is killing me. This sewing machine is not plugged in. And I'm here concentrating, doing everything, giving 100% to make this seam perfect, and the sewing machine is just not plugged in. Oh well, here we go. There's a proper way in how to close overlock seams, so make sure to keep your threads really long, and then what you do is you make a knot, a really simple knot at the end of each seam where it ends, and then you just trim it, and that should make sure that the seam is not coming undone. I'm gonna repeat the same process on each of the seams we do, and that's something that's just you know, going on consistently. So we've got now the shoulder seams closed, and what we do next now is we're gonna set in the sleeves, and then we're gonna close down the sleeve and the side seams in one go, and that's actually easier than setting the sleeve in after you closed the side seam. The seam allowance of the shoulder seams also goes towards the back piece, so make sure you fold it towards the back, and then you can pin in the sleeves. At this point, you should have closed the shoulder seams and also set in the sleeves. So that's basically what it looks like, just the side seams, and also the sleeves itself should still be open. You've guessed it already, we're gonna close the side seam and the sleeves now. This time, don't forget to put the seam allowance towards the sleeve. I'm gonna pin everything so it's easier to sew. And also don't forget to take out the pins while you're sewing. So you should not hit the knife with one of the pins. Potentially you also want to change the seam color. I'm gonna stick with red because it doesn't clash too much with the pink I've got. But let's say you have a really high contrast shirt like black and white, then I think it's really much worth to put the right color of thread into the machine for each side you're sewing. However, if you try to put detail in there and you want some more contrast, of course, then you can use the opposite color. I think for mine it's not really worth it because the pink fabric is printed red anyway, so it's not going to clash too much. So I'm gonna stick with red. The shirt is almost finished at this point. We can wear it already, but the hems are not done yet. So what you would usually use to finish the edges of jersey pieces is what is called a flat lock. A flat lock sewing machine has 2 needles as well, and just as the name says, it stitches everything flat, and it creates these 2 seams that run parallel throughout the seam. That stitch is stretchy as well and perfect for the finishing because, well, that's its purpose. And I don't think that any of us has a flat lock at home unless you've got a super advanced sewing studio. Certainly I don't. So you can actually fake this flat lock stitch. Once again, if you sell pieces like this to other people, I do not recommend using it because the fake stitch is just not as stretchy as the flat lock stitch is. So if you plan on creating shirts and selling them, I think it's very much worth to outsource this step and actually getting it done by a proper flat lock sewing machine. This piece is just for me and showcase purposes, that's then fine, but like I said, don't sell stuff like that. So first of all, use your overlock sewing machine to just stitch down the ends, the hems on the bottom, and also the edges of the sleeves. If you don't have an overlock machine, use your zigzag stitch. You just want to make sure to sew it down so the fabric doesn't roll up constantly. Once you've done with the overlock machine, you go back to your iron and you measure down 2 centimeters on the sleeves and also 2 centimeters on the bottom, and fold it on the inside, and then you make sure that you create a nice and flat ironed edge. Once that step is done, you go to your regular sewing machine with your regular straight stitch and you stitch down 2 parallel seams, and that's how you create the fake flat lock stitch. Make sure to stretch the fabric a bit, not too much, but somewhere, you know, in the middle, not too little, not too much, so it still is a bit stretchy and you get your arm through and your head and everything else. I'm ready for the last step, which is to put in the color. So we've got this little piece here, we kept it flat so we could print on it. And now it's time to close the second seam. So I'm gonna put the pink part and the red part on top of each other. Gonna pin that real quick and then we're gonna close that seam. This is the easy part. Putting it onto the shirt is a bit more tricky, but I'm sure you can do it. So the color is now prepared, so you should end up with this tunnel piece with 2 colors. So once you've knotted each end of the seams and you've trimmed it, then what you basically do is you fold the piece into half. So you still end up with a tunnel, but you've got the right side on the inside and on the outside as well. Kind of like this. This is going onto the neck like this. I then take the color, and obviously we want the pink sides to match and also the red ones. So I'm gonna put the seams of the colors on top of each other so that matches. And then I'm gonna pin it onto the neckline. If you've got a preferred side for the front and the back, please double check when you pin it in so it goes onto the right side. So for example, I want the side which has a bit more black on it to be in the front. It's looking so cute. Oh well, technically you should be finished now. Well, I should be finished now too. However, I think I'm gonna bedazzle it still. It's something missing and I want to make up for the messed up parts of the screen printing, because it's just, as I said, I'm not so used to it. It's completely new. I'm gonna do some beading on it. I'm gonna show you when I'm done with bedazzling it, and then we can look at my personalized finished shirt. Please let me know if you've made one as well. I'm curious to see what yours looks like. It's been 3 days and I've pretty much been beating any free second I could get and worked on that shirt, and today I'm finished. I used an exceptional amount of beads. I think I emptied like 4 containers of these, and now it's finally done and it looks so much better. Like, I can really make up for my mistakes from screen printing. But here's the finished result, and I can't wait to actually put it on and see what it looks like. Not the worst idea I had so far. This is gonna look great underneath the dress. If you want to know what the dress looks like and how I made that, I'm gonna link the video down in the description box and also into the iCard so you can have a look at that. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video.